Motherhood with littles can be a lot. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, overstimulating, chaotic. Although I love being a mother, I have found that I need to have systems in place so that I'm not always reacting in like my fleshly manner. It's easy to wake up and feel overwhelmed and frustrated before the day even begins. You have maybe hungry kids waking you up, a mess. You wake up to a mess in the morning. The house feels loud. You have no time to yourself. You have a million decisions that you need to make before the day is done. And you're constantly putting out fires or breaking up fights. And personally, I used to be between having a really rigid plan and trying my best to follow it, and that gave me so much stress. When I didn't meet those plans, I felt like a failure. I felt like I'm not doing motherhood right. And then the other extreme I've also been in, where I have no plan. We go with the flow, we see what happens, we do what we want, and that also brings a level of stress and chaos and having to maybe entertain my kids. And I just didn't like either side of the spectrum. So I found something in the middle that really served our family well. So what I changed wasn't putting more in my to-do list. It wasn't being more productive. It was building simple, life-giving rhythms that would work and serve our family. It would give our days direction and peace. So today, in this video, I want to share my 6 homemaking systems that have brought peace and purpose back into our home and in our family. These are practical rhythms that work with littles around, with life, with kids. You can pivot and adjust. It's not rigid. So in this video, again, I want to encourage you and maybe give you some ideas that you haven't thought about that can bring peace into your home and structure without feeling like you're doing too much or you're trying to reach for perfection. I'm going to be sharing simple ideas that you can implement today in your set-apart home. I also want to preface that I titled this video Non-Negotiables, but what I have learned in 7 years of being a wife and a mother, that it's good to have structure and goals and things you want to try to meet, but you also need to give yourself grace because we are human. We have a lot on our plate. So if we don't meet these standards or these non-negotiables, that's okay. It's real life here on this channel. So a lot of these systems, we try our best to stick to these and have them be our non-negotiables, but some days we don't get to it, and that's okay. So I'm going to just start from the beginning of our day and work our way towards the end. So our first system is my morning Bible and coffee time. I know for me personally, I felt discouraged when I wasn't getting my Bible time in. I was feeling like I needed it to be at a certain time in a certain way, or else it wasn't going to work for me. And I struggled for a while trying to figure out how to incorporate time with Jesus, time reading my Bible, where I wasn't getting overwhelmed with kids being around or not having enough time to dig deep into a scripture verse. And so I basically let that go, and I found a new system that is sustainable for me in this season of having 3 littles and homeschooling and being at home and cooking and cleaning and doing all the things. But I knew that it was a priority, that I needed to get into my word more. So after the kids are fed for breakfast and cleaned up, everything's tidy, put away, I have my coffee made and ready in my Yeti cup that keeps it nice and hot. I have my Bible always out here on my desk next to the area that I sit, and I have my journal. And I will just read and pray for 5 to 10 minutes every day. And I know a lot of you may be thinking, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day in the Word, like you need more Bible time, girl. I just want to say that if you're able to get more time in, that is great. I also try to get more Bible time in throughout different times in my day. But for now, in the season that I'm in, me and God are okay with 5 to 10 minutes a day. In the morning, I know that I can get to it, that I can feed my soul and have it in my mind and in my brain for the day, even if it's just a few verses, a few passages, and then I will have a more like in-depth Bible time at a different moment. So my go-tos that I read every single day is Proverbs 31. I've done this like since before I was married. I just love that verse, and I like having it like fresh on my mind throughout like my day. And then I also keep a running list of passages and scriptures that I want to go back to and spend more time digging into and learning about and referencing. So I'll just pick some of those verses if I have more time, and I'll get to those verses. And then I'm just praying with God. I'm just having a conversation like, what do you want me to see through these verses? And I just basically stay in this space, in this reading time, trying to listen to God, even if it's noisy, if the kids are around, if they're not around, they know that this is my 5 to 10 minutes. And then as soon as somebody needs me, or basically when somebody needs me, I will close my Bible and put that away until I can come back to it at another time. So this honestly is just a practice. It's a way for me to be faithful to getting into God's word in a practical, sustainable way. So 5 minutes a day, 5 to 10 minutes a day, every day, non-negotiable. That's my system for that. System 2 is kitchen and meal planning systems. So early on in motherhood, I found that one of the pains, or one of the things that were bringing me a little bit of chaos and a little bit of stress, was having to make breakfast every morning for hungry little kids that wake up just ravenous, right? So I've created a system where my kids can independently grab either a breakfast that I had already prepared the night before, or they can make something themselves. So whether I'm sleeping with the little baby, or I'm doing a chore and I'm busy and I can't get their breakfast right away, which is usually the case, I actually don't love cooking breakfast or getting a lot of things out during the morning or cleaning during the morning, and I just also don't love breakfast foods. So I haven't ever really been excited to prep a breakfast, but obviously my kids need to eat breakfast. So the way that I created a solution for this was having breakfast ready for them to grab. So they know where their utensils are, where their cups for water are, where their bowls are, and they can grab it, and either they can make themselves a breakfast. That can either look like yogurt with fruit and honey. They can get that themselves. Sometimes it will just be some fruit that's already cut up. And then if I prepped something the night before for them to grab, an example of that would be overnight oats that I already made. All they have to do is grab the overnight oats and a spoon, and then they can eat that. So that starts off my morning they're not needing me to make them breakfast. And it's just, I found it makes a big difference when they can independently have breakfast ready for themselves. My oldest is 6, 5, and then I have a 1-year-old. So the 2 older kids, this is for them. And then also, we used to be in a season where the kids were constantly asking for snacks. They're constantly hungry, constantly looking through the fridge every 5 minutes. Where did they learn that from? Probably me and my husband. But I knew that that was something that we needed to change. So my kids are not allowed to go through the fridge whenever they want all day long. They know when snack time comes, it's between each meal. And they also know what they can have for snacks, so they're not constantly asking, Mom, I'm hungry, what can I have for a snack? What can you make me? I just have a list, and this changes throughout the seasons, but it's just a list of 3 to 5 things that they know that they can either grab themselves or they can ask me to make, but it's usually something they can grab themselves. And again, this just alleviates more of me having to spend time doing something that they can independently do themselves. And also the mental energy I have to use to answer all these questions. So mealtime goes smoother with snacks. They know the deal with snacks. And then of course, just the kitchen systems. I just have reset anchors throughout my day where I reset the kitchen because I don't like clutter. We have a small sink and not too much counter space, so I need to keep on that throughout the day with how much food we cook and eat from home. And again, just waking up to a cluttered, dirty kitchen is not how anybody wants to wake up. So that used to overwhelm me, and now I've created systems in my kitchen. Like after breakfast, we have a reset. The kids know that they need to put their dishes away and tidy up their area that they ate at. We gotta vacuum and wipe down the tables. I have another reset before dinner that the kids also help me out with. So we'll put any toys away, vacuum the floor, clear the counter so I can get dinner going. And then after dinner, we have another reset for after dinner. And again, the kids know what they need to do. They know their job, so it's a whole family effort. And this just helps me run my kitchen smoothly. And I'm not, even though I am doing dishes like all day long, I'd rather do dishes all day long than have a huge pile sitting there all day for me to look at and stress about. So throughout those resets, I'll also put my dry dishes away because we wash everything by hand. We don't have a dishwasher. And this is how I keep my kitchen manageable and peaceful. I also break down like my entire kitchen reset system in a step-by-step guide that I can leave linked below if you're interested in that. I break everything down and you can follow it and implement it into your kitchen like today. So I'll leave that linked below. And then my third system is laundry system, which is pretty simple, and this actually took me years to figure out, but I just do one load a day and I finish that load completely in one day. This helps me to not have piles of laundry stacked up where I just look at it and I get overwhelmed and I leave it for the next day or the next week. So in the morning I will throw in dirty laundry, and we actually have a laundry that washes and dries in one cycle in one machine. And then when it's done by lunchtime, I will sort out my clothes and my husband's clothes, and then my kids' clothes have their own basket each. And then I will put each basket in their room. So my daughter has a basket of her clothes, and then my son has a basket of his clothes, and I just say, okay, go do your laundry, your baskets are ready, and they know how to put their clothes away where they need to go. So that helps me not have to put their clothes away. And again, it's just another great way for the kids to learn these skills that are good for them to know, and it helps out the entire home by them learning this skill. Okay, and then my fourth system that helps me run a peaceful and purposeful home is our homeschool system. So right now I'm homeschooling my 6-year-old and my 5-year-old. And in the beginning, it felt very chaotic. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew I wanted to homeschool. And so I used to scramble the night before or the morning of and put stuff together. And I just did that every day. And it was simple things, but like also games and sensory bins, and it was just a lot that I had to like redo every single day. So I squashed that system. Now we start with our essentials every day, and we go over this every time. It's either during breakfast or when we're actually starting homeschool. And those are just like the Pledge of Allegiance, our letter sounds, our memory verse, numbers, recitations, things like that. So I have a list that I can go off of, and we do those every single day. Then we have our main curriculum that we use is Memoria Press for both of my kids, and it's like an open and go. All I have to do the night before or the week before is just check what read alouds we need, what art supplies we need, and then we just start and we open up the curriculum. They know where to go to grab all of their stuff. I have these 2 boxes that have their pencil bags in it, and then all of their books that they need. So they just, when I say it's school time, they just grab their boxes. I'll show you. So it's these 2 boxes, one for each child, and then they just take it to the table. They just take it to the dining room table where we do school. And when we do school, kind of changes. With my baby, when she's napping, I try to do like the main part of school. Sometimes we can get it done if she's awake, but it just depends. again, it's taking more responsibility off of me so that it frees my brain up, frees my energy up to bring more peace so that I can serve my family better. And I'm also going to point out our like read aloud system, which goes under kind of like homeschooling things. I like to make read alouds non-negotiable because it really serves us and brings us peace instead of either screen time or even like playing with a bunch of toys can sometimes be chaotic too, which is another video. I love to be minimal on our toys, but anyways, back to read alouds. This creates time for connection. It creates time to slow down, to be together, and then it also helps with them learning how to read. Reading is just really great, especially read alouds. So again, this goes under the homeschool system, but read alouds are non-negotiable for us. Sometimes we'll do that after lunch with a tea time and a snack, and then sometimes we'll just do it whenever we have an open window. We'll just all sit on the couch and grab a book and read. Also under homeschooling rhythms is an outdoor system where every day I send the kids outside because it's great for them. We all know this, and it's great for mama. Kids can become restless almost. They need to use up energy and be creative. Staying inside too long is not good for us. I'll speak for my family. Sometimes we can get kind of like claustrophobic being all so close together inside, that being outdoors gives us space to run around and play and maybe have a little bit more like physical space with each other and just like breathing in the fresh air and grounding and all those things. So a system that we have, we go outside right in the morning before we start school. I let the kids run out some energy. This can either be 10 minutes, 30 minutes, probably not more than about 30 minutes, or they'll play with the neighbors outside just to get their bodies moving, and then I will give them a 5-minute countdown for when we are actually going to start homeschool, and I'll go back out and tell them, okay, 5 more minutes to play outside, then we're going to come back in and start school. Then after lunch we go outside again, or after we're done with school we'll go outside, and it's just open play. Let them do whatever. We have a trampoline, we have a tree house, scooters, basketball hoop, all the things. So yeah, so they go outside before we start school, after we start school, and then when we're done with school and done with read alouds till dinner time, they can go outside and play. This is a system that honestly brings back so much peace and purpose and is so good for us and our family. And if you're not implementing outdoor time, you think it might be too much, or it's going to give you more responsibility, or I don't know, whatever reason you're not doing outdoor time, try it out. It's really good for us. Really brings peace and purpose to our kids, to our families. Kids just, regulate themselves better. There's less fighting and arguing, with the space for them to play and be creative and work on things together. Problem solving, all of those things. Okay, and then number 5 is my screens system. This system is probably one of the more important systems that took me a lot longer to figure out, but I'm so glad that I did, because now our days run smoother, our attitudes are better, we get along better, I'm not as stressed, I'm not overstimulated, they're not overstimulated with screen time. So this is an important one. And I will say that I did have screens as like a default method for me when I needed a break, when I needed to catch up on something. When the baby was napping, I would put a movie on after lunch almost every day, and the kids would get used to it. They'd ask for screen times all day, and I just knew that it wasn't a good habit for us to do, so I wanted to change that. So during our homeschool week, which is Tuesday through Friday, we do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are our big homeschool days. Friday we have homeschool co-op, so we usually don't get our schooling done that day. So we don't do any screens on those days. And then we have a Friday movie night where the whole family watches a movie, and we usually have like a special dinner on Friday. And then Saturday mornings, I let them wake up and watch TV or watch a show or play on the iPad for game. We have some games on the iPad. They are allowed to wake up and do that without asking me. They know on Saturday mornings, usually the night before, like Friday night, but is it Saturday morning tomorrow? They'll ask me if they can do that. So they know that they can wake up and go to screens right away on Saturday. And then I have a really slow morning on Saturday. We don't do school, and we're okay with that. It works for us. And then Sunday evening, Monday my husband is off, so Sunday evenings we also allow for screen time, although we don't announce it. We're not like, oh, today's Sunday night, we have to watch a movie, because sometimes we will be busy either like playing board games or doing other things where the kids like don't even remember that Sunday is a day where they're allowed to watch screens. But Friday night we do kind of like make it a big deal so that we can all sit down together as a family. And this, again, screen times just help the kids play more independently together. They create more, they're creative, they're whining less. There is a season where they kind of were bored when we first started, so I had to give them ideas, but that was a really short period. And I will say that if you are gonna like detox them from screens, there is a short phase where it's really hard and you want to give in, but stick to it. It literally like 3 days to a week max detox completely, and then they won't be asking you to watch TV all the time. But I really think that it's made such a huge shift in our family to create peace and just slower days, slower conversations, better attitudes. And it opens up more time for me to include them in like our home things, giving them more responsibility to be a part of the home and just bring them into the tasks that I'm already doing. And I might add a bonus system. So that was my last system, but I'm going to add this bonus system, which I'm going to call child training, which is biblical. But moms often feel like we have to do it all ourselves, or like, I know I've come across moms who will say like, my kids aren't able to do that yet, they're too young, or I've tried having them like do this task, or I've tried implementing this, but they just don't like it, or they don't want to do it. And I just want to like say to those moms that our kids are very capable, more than capable, to do a lot of great and hard things. Yes, they're going to need to learn how to do it, and it's going to take you being repetitive, teaching them how to do it, showing them how to do it, showing them when they need to do it. But if you put in the time and the energy and the patience to train your children how to do a list of things, it really does pay off in the end. So I will touch on how child training has brought peace and purpose into our home and me as a homemaker, how I really value that as a priority and something that we put extra time and effort into is child training. So some examples of what that can look like in just day-to-day life. I already mentioned our kids know where all of the utensils are, and they know where everything goes. They can grab things and be independently grabbing them and putting them away. Tidying their spaces, whether it's eating or coloring or making messes or being creative, they know that whatever mess they create, they have to clean it up. And that already obviously takes off a lot of pressure off me as mom, having to clean up a million different messes throughout the day from kids just being kids. And it also just allows space for them to be kids, where mom's not always stressed and like, the kids are not thinking like, I can't make a mess because mom's gonna get mad, or she's just got to clean it up. So on so many levels, it brings peace and purpose. Getting their own snacks, training them around food, how to get food, how to make food, how to prepare food, and then learning just the health and nutrition side about food is a way that you can train your children to be wise in their eating. A pet peeve of mine was I would find trash and napkins and wrappers all over the house, and it would drive me crazy having to pick it up, because although my home is not particularly like extra clean and like squeaky clean and like everything's like put away all the time. I do like counter space cleared. I like the floors to be cleared. Too many toys and like little pieces of like things really like bug me. I vacuum like all day long. And so I got really fed up with like trash and wrappers being everywhere. So when my kids were little, I would train them to whatever you open, if you have trash, whether that's like a little circle like lid off of a, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about? Those like things, and then like wrappers, napkins, like instructions for little toys, whatever it is. Anytime I would find one on the ground or on the table right next to the trash can, I would call my kids over to say, you need to come pick this up and put it in the trash can, or you need to come pick this up and put it where it needs to go. That habit is worth doing. Even though you're going to do it a million times in the beginning, they eventually will figure it out, like, oh, I need to throw this away, right into the trash can. Putting dirty clothes and laundry away after showering or after playing outside. They were leaving their clothes in their bedroom, in the bathroom, and I'd have to come up and clean it. And I found that happening every day. So now they know to put their clothes in the dirty laundry basket. And again, I had to tell them this every single time they left a pair of undies or clothes somewhere. I would call them instead of me picking it up every time, and enabling them to keep continuing to do this habit that I didn't want them to have. I would go call them and tell them to pick it up and put it in the laundry. And they learned really quickly too. Hanging towels after taking a bath. That was another thing. They would leave their towels in their room on the ground. I'd have to go pick them up. So if they do that, again, I just tell them, oh, you left your towel in the room, go hang it up. Tell them a few times or 100 times. Eventually they'll figure it out, and now they don't have to have me telling them to put it away, and I don't have to spend that extra minute putting it away. Closing the toothpaste off. Closing the cap of the toothpaste after they're done brushing their teeth. I know it sounds small and silly and like, why does it bother me? But it did, and I also felt like it was a good habit for them to learn early on for whenever they're going to be married one day. And like these little things, you know, they're going to be well off knowing that mama instilled in them to be responsible and be good stewards of even the littlest things. So that's another example. There's a million of those, but those are little ways that you can practically child train. And then there's the whole biblical side to why we are called to train up our children in the Word and in the way that God wants us to live. But I also pertain that to just being a steward of their space, of their home. And again, training takes more effort up front, but it creates long-term peace and strong, capable adults. And the home functions more more peacefully. It's life-giving. We're not all overwhelmed and frustrated or overstimulated by these things because we've created these systems to work and serve our family. And again, these systems are not about being perfect or reaching all of them every time. They're about being intentional with your home, finding what works and what is not bringing peace into your home, and working towards like functioning better for your house. And these habits, these rhythms, they start small, but they really like compile up and really serve and really make like big, like monumental changes to the atmosphere of your home. And again, if any of these topics you want me to dive deeper into, I tried to like rail it in for most of them, but if there's anything that you want me to share more in depth with each system, let me know in the comments below, and I'd be happy to make another system going deeper into any of these topics or systems that I've created. Yeah, so I'd love to hopefully help and encourage anybody looking to find better life-giving systems that will really bring peace and purpose into your home as a homemaker and mom of littles. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.